AI Weekly Breakthroughs. Welcome to this week's episode. It's a show where we explore all the key happenings from the AI world to see what really matters. And this week we had big breakthroughs, and I want to start with the biggest one. Open source community rejoice. Meta introduces Llama 3.1 family of models. And why open source community? Because this model or this family of models is fully openly available and open sourced. So it's a family of models. It comes in 3 different sizes, 8 billion parameters, 70 billion parameters, and then the biggest one, 405 billion parameters. So this is now the norm for all these AI companies training models. Essentially, they release models in different sizes so that then you can pick your weapon for your given task. And in this family, the biggest model, 405 billion model, is the most exciting one. Why and why this is such an exciting release for the open source community? Because this is the first openly available model that actually rivals top AI models on the market. Top closed source models, so let's say what OpenAI is doing and what Anthropic is doing, and Meta can support this claim with benchmarks, which we'll look at in just a second. Context window size, 128,000 tokens, so this is also now becoming the norm, and it supports 8 different languages. So looking at the benchmarks, how does this model perform? How does it match against some of the other main competitors here, GPT-4, GPT-4 Omni, and then Claude 3.5 Sonnet? We see that it does pretty well. It outperforms GPT-4 Omni on quite a few benchmarks, and then it matches about evenly versus Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Looking at the smaller brothers, 8 billion tokens and 70 billion tokens, they perform very well in their categories. Now, I will add one thing. Latest OpenAI's model GPT-4 Omni is missing on this benchmark, and it does perform this model from Llama. So latest release or the small model from OpenAI is very impressive, and this small model from Llama 3.1 fails to outperform it. And then last benchmark here, and I think this is really the most relevant one, the most trustworthy one, and it is the human preference, human evaluation. So humans are evaluating answers from model A and model B and deciding which answer they prefer or which answer they like better. And the first row, top row, we see Llama 3.1 versus GPT-4. Second one is versus GPT-4o, and then the last one is versus Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And now we see that it's quite evenly matched. It actually outperforms Claude 3.5 Sonnet. It does not outperform models from OpenAI. So this is good to see from Meta that they do publish results even though they fail to beat some other models. But this definitely supports their claim that this model is the first open source model that actually matches up very well against some of the closed source models. And I want to expand this first item with this graphic, with this figure shared by Maxime Lebon. And it shows how the gap between closed source models and open source models has been gradually and consistently closing. Now, the 2 lines on the figure, take them with a grain of salt. I think they're biased towards open source models, but still the top right of the graphic is very interesting indeed, because what we can see is that the latest open source models, and Llama 3.1, 405 billion tokens is on there, is very close, or it even outperforms some of the best closed source models available on the market. So we see GPT-4o there. We do see Claude 3.5 Sonnet, that model reigns supreme on this MMLU benchmark, but still this is very interesting to see. And it's going to be also interesting to see how does this change in the future. So what can closed source models open to the community that open source models can't? Continuing with another model announcement. This one is from Mistral, French AI startup. They release Mistral Large 2. So this is the new generation of their flagship model, Mistral Large. They improve performance across the board. It has 123 billion parameters. It has a context window size, again, 128,000 tokens. It supports 12 languages. So this is where Mistral AI is doing very well. Language support within their models, and those models actually do very well on those multilingual benchmarks. And the license, Mistral Research License. So this model can be used for research and non-commercial purposes. If you do want to use it for a commercial purpose, you need a commercial license, which you can acquire by going or contacting Mistral. Looking at the benchmarks, now what Mistral are very proud of, how well the size performance ratio is, or how well this evaluation looks like. So on this benchmark, we see Llama 3.1, 405 billion already there. And even though this model has about 1/3 of the tokens, it does very well on code generation and math performance. So those are also the two capabilities which Mistral highlights with these models. And then last one, again, I want to focus on the human evaluation because this is the most trustworthy benchmark. On the left, we see these measurements or how this model matches up against some of the other biggest one. It fails to outperform GPT 4o. This model is doing very well on this benchmark, but we do see that it outperforms Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So this is an exciting new release from Mistral and definitely puts this model very highly on most of the benchmarks that are that they published or that they reported their scores on. And I want to continue with generative search. So many companies or many of the biggest players in the search space are introducing or trying to merge generative AI capabilities, large language model capabilities with search. So Google tried it with their AI overviews. It did not work that very well, or it was not received that positively. OpenAI is now doing something similar with SearchGPT. It is currently just a prototype, so it's a prototype of new AI search features. It combines, as mentioned, AI models with information from the web, and then alongside each answer, SearchGPT provides relevant sources that it used to generate the response that you're seeing on the screen. And looking at a few screenshots from this prototype, we see that search is the same as or nothing special compared to some other products on the market. But with answers now, you see a nice template, and alongside each answer, you see the link to the source that the AI model used. And on the left, you see more information about the context of your search, and then the context of the search results that were retrieved. And Bing is doing something similar. So Bing Generative Search, for this one, I will show a short video. Here we see a question: what is a spaghetti western? On the right, you see search results as we are used to, but on the left, you're seeing AI generated answers, and you're seeing an AI generated layout. So let's say history and origins, supporting content. You can see all the links to sources that AI used to generate this answer or to present these results. But what is perhaps different with OpenAI, or how OpenAI and Bing are approaching it, they're taking it much slower. Perhaps learning from Google's mistakes, they released this feature very quickly, and again, it was not that positively received. OpenAI and Bing, they are taking it very slowly. This is only available to a select few customers currently, and they will continue to evaluate it, and once they are confident enough, they will release it to the public. Next one, research breakthroughs. Now, one of the limitations of large language models is solving math problems that require a higher level of reasoning. And this is a limitation that was supposedly the main topic of OpenAI's Q-Star project, now called the Strawberry project. And this is a big research topic. So how can we simply put, teach AI to solve math problems? Because large language models, they have mastered language, and if you combine this with math capabilities, you get a much more powerful model, or a model capable of solving much more demanding tasks. But researchers at Google DeepMind, they have done this quite successfully. So two models or two systems were introduced. First one called Alpha Proof. It is a reinforcement learning based system for math reasoning, and the second one is Alpha Geometry 2. So it is a geometry solving system. And together, those two systems, they successfully solved 4 out of the 6 problems from this year's International Math Olympiad. And looking at how these two systems compare to other competitors on this Olympiad, or on the tests that were presented to the competitors at this Olympiad, they do very well. They scored 28 out of 42, and this puts them into the silver medal region. So just shy of the gold medal, or the scores points required to reach the gold medal. So this is very exciting. Now, one of the limitations still present within those two systems is a human needs to formalize the math problem so that those two systems can do their job. And what the researchers shared is they are testing Gemini, combining those two systems systems with Gemini, which has this general language capabilities, to get this more capable system that is now able to solve or understand language, and then also apply these new capabilities to solve math problems. So this is very exciting research breakthrough. It's going to be interesting to see what they can show in the next few months or years. And then the last one, I just want to share some of the main updates from the biggest players in the space. First one from OpenAI, GPT-4o Mini. You can now fine-tune this model. So this is OpenAI's latest small model, and fine-tuning is very exciting here because small language models are easier and cheaper to fine-tune for your specific scenarios. Second, Cohere, re-rank 3 Nimble. So now Cohere, what they're doing is they're introducing enterprise-focused models that can solve enterprise tasks. Retrieval augmented generation is one of those main techniques that they want to support with their models, and re-ranking is one important piece in that pipeline. And re-ranking makes sure that results that are retrieved from the knowledge base are relevant for a given query. Now, why this model is called Nimble? Because it is designed to handle high volume workloads. So they have successfully increased throughput and decreased latency. Next one from Stability AI, they release Stable Video 4D model. What does this model do? It can turn a single object video into multiple videos that show or present this object from different angles. Next one, Kling AI video generator. It is now available globally. To refresh the memory, Kling AI, it is a video generation model that is very good, or that the community believes it is the closest to OpenAI's Sora. It is very good, it is very impressive, and it can now be tested by anyone. And last one for this week, 1.5 Flash is now available in Gemini. So this is the fast model in the Gemini family. Google is now making it available through their Gemini solution. It is available in 40 languages and in more than 200 countries. And this is it for this week. Thank you, and until next week.